Hello and welcome to Listening to the Radio.
Have you ever stopped to think, really think, about those voices traveling through the air? Invisible, but always there. We've all fiddled with a radio dial, right? Looking for a song, or maybe the news.
Absolutely. We tune into our local stations, the ones that come in loud and clear.
But today, we're diving into something a bit different. Imagine turning that casual listening into, well, almost like a treasure hunt. A sonic treasure hunt for signals from the farthest corners of the globe.
That's a great way to put it. We're talking about radio DXing today. It's a fascinating world.
Right. So most people, they listen to their local FM station, right? Maybe AM for news or sports. Clear signal, easy listening.
Exactly. But a DXer, well, a DXer is actively searching. They're looking for those weak, elusive signals, the ones that have traveled thousands of miles, maybe from countries you only know from a map.
So it's the difference between sticking to your backyard and heading out into the wilderness looking for something rare.
Precisely. The regular listener enjoys what's easy to find. The DXer is an explorer of the airwaves.
I like that. An explorer of the airwaves.
And the name itself, DX, gives you a clue. D stands for distant, and X kind of signifies the unknown, the variable.
Ah, okay. D for distant, X for unknown. Makes sense.
So DXing is essentially the art, maybe even the science, of tuning into and listening to these distant, sometimes mysterious broadcasts, and the people who do it. They call themselves DXers.
DXers. Sounds like a cool club. But okay, beyond just listening,
Yeah.
what does a DXer actually do? I mean, it can't just be turning the radio on and hoping.
Oh, definitely not. There's more to it. A DXer is quite methodical, almost like a scientist at the dial, you could say.
Okay.
So first step, once you think you found a distant station, is carefully monitoring the reception quality. You're listening for clarity, interference, fading, all that stuff.
Right. It's not just hearing it, but understanding how well you're hearing it. Like trying to catch a whisper in a crowded room.
Exactly like that. It takes concentration. And once you've locked onto a potential distant station, you don't just listen for a second, you stick with it.
How long?
Usually for at least 20, maybe 30 minutes.
Okay, why so long?
Well, that time is crucial to confirm the station's identity. You're listening for announcements, specific jingles, program names, maybe the language, clues to figure out where it's coming from.
Gotcha. Gathering evidence.
And increasingly, DXers made short audio recordings too, as proof of reception.
Recordings. Okay, now it feels like detective work. So you've got the info, maybe a recording. What then? Just keep it in a logbook.
That's the next vital step, actually, preparing a formal reception report.
A formal report, wow.
Yeah, it needs to be detailed. You include the exact date and time you heard the station, usually in UTC, Coordinated Universal Time, to avoid confusion.
Right, time zones would mess things up otherwise.
Precisely. You also note the exact frequency, details about the program, you heard what music was playing, topics discussed, any specific announcements, and importantly, you evaluate the reception quality.
How do you do that objectively? Isn't reception kind of subjective?
There's a standard code for that called the SIN-PO.
SIN-POTO. Sounds like a secret agency code name.
Huh. It kind of does. It stands for signal strength, interference, noise, propagation disturbance, and overall merit. Each gets a rating, usually 1 to 5.
Okay, SINPO. Signal, interference, noise, propagation, overall. That gives a really clear picture.
It does. It allows DXers worldwide to communicate reception conditions using a common language. Once you have this detailed report, you send it off to the station itself or their relevant authority.
You actually mail it or email it to the radio station.
Yep, you submit the report.
And what do the stations do? Do they even look at them?
Well, absolutely, especially international broadcasters using shortwave. They want to know who's hearing them and how well. Their technical departments check the report against their broadcast logs.
To see if your details match up.
Exactly. If your report is accurate, right time, right frequency, right program details, they'll often confirm your reception.
How do they confirm it?
Traditionally, they'd send back a verification letter, or more commonly, a special postcard called a QSL card.
Ah, QSL cards. I've heard of those. They're like collectible trophies for radio enthusiasts, aren't they?
That's a perfect description. For a long time, this was all done through postal mail, letters and cards going back and forth across the globe.
Must have been expensive and maybe a bit slow sometimes.
Increasingly so. Cost and reliability became issues. So nowadays, while traditional QSLs still exist, email reports and electronic QSLs or EQSLs are becoming much more common. It's just faster and cheaper.
Makes sense. Modern tech helping out a classic hobby. So collecting these QSLs, physical or digital, is a big part of the appeal.
Definitely. The number of QSL cards you've collected, the number of different stations and countries you've verified, that's a key measure of a DXer's success and experience. They're tangible proof of those invisible connections you've made.
Like passport stamps for the airwaves, that's really cool. But is there more to it than just the thrill of the catch and collecting confirmations?
Yes, actually. There can be other perks, too. Some international radio stations are quite generous to their regular active listeners.
Generous how? Like shout-outs on air?
Sometimes, but also physical gifts. Things like portable radios, station T-shirts, local handicrafts from their country, books, magazines, pens, key rings, all sorts of stuff.
No way. Stations just send out freebies.
To listeners who send in regular, good quality reception reports, yes. It's a way to build listener loyalty and gather valuable reception data.
That's amazing, like a little reward for your efforts.
And sometimes they go even bigger. Quiz competitions are quite common.
Okay, trivia about the station or its country.
Usually. And the prizes can be pretty substantial. Some stations even offer all expenses-paid trips to their country as the grand prize.
Get out. A free trip just for listening to the radio and answering some questions.
It happens. I can actually vouch for that personally.
You won one. Seriously.
I did. Back in 2017, I was incredibly lucky to win a trip to Indonesia through a quiz run by Voice of Indonesia. It was an absolutely unforgettable experience, all thanks to this hobby.
Wow. Okay, that definitely adds a whole new layer of excitement to DXing. I can see the appeal now. So for someone listening who's intrigued, how do they get started? Do you need super expensive gear?
Not necessarily super expensive, but you do need the right basics. The most important thing is a good shortwave radio receiver.
Shortwave, not just a standard AM/FM radio.
Right. You need one that covers the shortwave bands. Thankfully, there are lots of good options available online these days across different price points.
Okay, decent shortwave radio. What else?
The other absolutely crucial piece is a suitable antenna. Experienced DXers often say the antenna is the ear of the receiver.
The ear of the receiver. I like that. So a better antenna means you can hear more distant, weaker signals.
Exactly. A good antenna, properly set up, can make a world of difference. It's often more important than having the most extensive radio.
Okay, radio and antenna. Which shortwave bands should beginners focus on?
For overseas stations, the bands roughly between 16 and 60 meters are usually the most productive. That's where a lot of the international broadcasters transmit.
16 to 60 meters.
Got it.
And is there a best time to listen?
Definitely. Generally, the period from sunset through the night until sunrise is the prime time for DXing long-distance signals.
Why is that?
It's down to radio wave propagation. At night, the Earth's ionosphere changes, and it reflects shortwave signals back down to Earth much more effectively, allowing them to travel huge distances, skipping around the globe.
So nighttime is magic time for DXing. What about medium wave, like the standard AM band? Can you DX on that too?
You absolutely can. While medium wave signals don't usually travel as far as shortwave during the day, their range increases significantly at night.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, for example, in India, it's possible to hear Akashvani, all India radio stations from different states on medium wave at night. And Prasar Bharati, the broadcaster, even issues QSLs for verified medium wave reception reports sent to their spectrum management office in New Delhi.
So that could be a good way to start practicing listening for stations from different parts of your own country first.
An excellent way, yes. Get the hang of identifying stations and writing reports with slightly easier targets.
Okay, this is great practical advice. But how do you know where to listen? Which frequencies, which times for specific stations? Is there a guide?
There is. The absolute Bible for DXers is the World Radio TV Handbook, often called the WRACH. It's published annually.
What's in it?
Pretty much everything. It lists radio stations, worldwide shortwave, medium wave, FM, even TV with their frequencies, schedules, transmitter locations, languages, power. All the crucial details.
The Bible of DXing. Sounds essential. What about apps? Anything for smartphones?
Oh yes, technology helps a lot here. There are some great apps like Skywave Schedules, Shortwave Schedules, and Shortwave Info.
And they do what?
They provide up-to-date broadcasting schedules. You can search by station, frequency, time, language. They make it much easier to find out who might be on the air when you're listening. Much more dynamic than a printed book.
Fantastic. Modern tools for a classic hobby. Now, you mentioned DXing in India. Is there an active community there people beginners could connect with?
Yes, definitely. The main active organization is the Indian DX Club International, based in Kolkata.
Okay, an actual club. What do they do?
They publish a free monthly online magazine called the Asian DX Review. It's packed with current news about the radio world, station updates, loggings from members, technical articles, and more. A great resource.
Free and online. That's brilliant for newcomers.
It really is.
Huh.
And there are many experienced and very active DXers across India who are usually happy to help beginners.
Could you name a few, perhaps?
Yep.
If someone wanted to reach out?
Sure. There's Babul Gupta in Barasat, Sudipta Ghosh in Kolkata, Jose Jacob in Hyderabad, Alakush Gupta in New Delhi, Sunil Deep in Calicut, S. Padacharya in Medinipur, A.K. Narsimhan in Chennai, A.M. Bain in Chhattisgarh, P. Prakayasta in Jorhat. Quite a few well-known names in the Indian DXing scene.
That's great to know there's a network of people passionate about this.
The DXing community is generally very welcoming. People love to share their knowledge and help others get started.
It really sounds like more than just a hobby. It's a way to connect with the world, learn about different cultures, almost like a form of armchair travel.
It truly is. And it can be incredibly rewarding personally. Think about the thrill. Actually holding a confirmation, that QSL card from a station broadcasting from the other side of the planet.
Yeah, that tangible proof of an invisible connection you made through the airwaves. It's quite poetic, really.
It is. A connection forged just by listening carefully.
Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating deep dive into the world of radio DXing. We've uncovered the techniques, the rewards, the community.
Hopefully you've sparked some curiosity. It's a hobby with a rich history, but it's still very much alive and kicking today.
I really hope so, too. Especially maybe for younger listeners who might not have discovered the magic hidden on the radio dial beyond their usual stations.
It would be wonderful to see the DXing fraternity grow, strengthening those connections across the globe through the shared passion for radio.
Definitely. So for everyone listening, maybe the next time you're near a radio, especially one with shortwave bands, take a moment, tune around slowly, listen carefully. Who knows what distant signals you might discover waiting out there in the static. It's quite an adventure waiting to happen.
The airways are full of surprises. Happy DXing.
Until our next deep dive.